Ahava and blessings. Welcome to this episode of Hold the Shekhinah. This podcast is here to support us and inspire us during these times of great change on this beautiful planet that we're on. The focus is to support us in remembering, embodying, integrating our soul essence, our light. I am your host. My name is Aurea. I am an ordained Magdalene priestess, Reiki master, energy and sound healer, and I am your guide on this journey. Happy Day of the Goddess. We are in the thick of it. There are solar flares happening. There is so much energy in the field. Mercury is going conjunct the Sun. So naturally, what has been coming up has a lot to do with our topic for this episode. And the topic for this episode is our intuition and the power of the word. And it is very important for us to get to know our energy. And I've spoken about getting to know your energy field before. But your intuition is something that has to do with your energy, but it's something very specific. Your intuition is the inner knowing. It is the senses that many of us are disconnected from because we weren't taught that they are a real thing, because we can't physically see them and touch them and taste them. And we were trained to think that the tangible, the material realm is all there is. But there is so much more to our world, to our human experience, than just the physical. So in this episode, I'm going to share my thoughts and the wisdom that I've channeled on your intuition, on the wisdom of your body, the wisdom of your womb space, and the power of the word. Because since we are in the Gemini portal, we are in the portal of Sivan. This is the Aramaic lunar cycle. And you'll hear me mention Aramaic terms simply because of my lineage. The lineage I follow is the lineage of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and they were deeply steeped and trained in the mysticism of their time that was associated with their culture, which was Hebraic Jewish. So it was pre-Christian, pre-Judaism, the way it is now. So it really was, I guess, the best way to describe what their culture and their energy and what they followed was to say that they followed the Chokhmah traditions, the traditions of the Sophia wisdom, what came to be known as the Kabbalah. So there was a lot of mysticism, a lot of esoteric mystery teachings to their work, to their teachings. And in that tradition, teachers often, actually, let me rephrase that. Teachers didn't just teach, they transmitted information. There was the information that they transmitted through their words, but then there was the deeper transmissions. There were the transmissions that were on a soul level. That's what I'm speaking about when I speak about mystery teachings. And the mystery teachings, the teachings of the divine feminine, Sophia, Shekhinah, Chokhmah, all of these words mean the same thing. They mean wisdom. The wisdom of the divine feminine, which is that deep wisdom of creation. These teachings, they were revolutionary in a time when people were moving more and more away from the alignment. is the wisdom that I am transmitting. And all of this wisdom has to do with your lived experience. It has to do with your body. It has to do with the way that you channel energy, the way that you understand your energy, and the way that you learn how to harmonize your energy field to those of those around you. So it is very deep and mystical and esoteric. So I will try to ground the energy and ground the teachings so you can understand intuition on a as tangible a level as we can understand intuition, because it's at the end of the day we're talking about the unseen. So there's always going to be an element that we don't fully grasp until we experience it ourselves. And just as I am recording this, my husky is teaching me her wisdom. So every creature, whether it is a husky or it is a dolphin or a bee or us human beings, we all have an energy field and we all have an innate wisdom. We all have a knowing that exists within us, within our bodies, within our DNA, within our bones. And this is the frequency and the energy of this knowing is that which we have accumulated and brought in from past lives. But it's also what we have experienced. And what we have experienced physically in our lifetime is what can distort our inner knowing. So when we are in the stillness of our heart, when we align with our heart, when we come to understand that we are not just ego, the I am, the lower I am, but we are infinite creation, a spark of the divine, we come to understand our intuition as our compass, as that inner voice that tells us and it whispers to us when we are on the right path or what is the right path, what is the truth for us, what is our fullest expression. This is the wisdom that we can access by going within, by going into the stillness, into the quiet. And yet most of us, because this doesn't seem natural, we were not taught meditation, we were not taught, for the most part, we were not taught to chant, we were not taught to truly commune with the divine. All of that was seen as external, none of it was internal. So none of us, for the most part, there may be the few stragglers and the outliers, learned how to be comfortable in the silence, in the quiet and the pause between our words, to sense the energy in a room, the energy behind the words that are being spoken either by you or to you. And that is the interesting thing. So many of us go about life either asleep or half awake and afraid of the unseen, afraid of the silence, afraid of those moments where there is nothing, where there is simply the void. Just think of how silences in conversations make you uncomfortable. They make you think thoughts that are often negative because you're thinking, oh, well, that person isn't talking to me, so that person must be thinking something negative. Or, oh, I must be boring, so I have nothing to say. Quick, let me think of something to say. We don't know how to be still, and we don't know, we've forgotten, I should say. We've forgotten how to be still, and we've forgotten how to listen. And this is just external. We've forgotten how to truly listen to one another, how to truly receive what is being conveyed to us. And in that same vein, we've forgotten what it is to commune with the divine, to truly allow ourselves to receive the wisdom that only comes in the stillness. It only comes in the moments where we surrender the ego, or we sacrifice the ego, and we basically allow the soul to lead you. And what is the soul? The soul is that infinite part of you that always has been, always will be, and that is in oneness with the divine. That part of you that knows that all is love, all is oneness, that this world is a physical reality that we are experiencing by choice in order to challenge ourselves, in order to expand, in order to experience different things. And our intuition, when we learn how to harness it, is what guides us deeper into this oneness, into divine union with Allah, God, Goddess, divine source, creation, whatever we call that energy. It is by going within, surrendering the ego, allowing your soul to lead you, that we can truly understand what our intuition is telling us. And there are people, and I saw this today, that say that channeling is bad. And that is a very fear-driven perspective. And it's also a perspective, it's a fear-mongering tactic that is meant to disconnect you and to make you afraid of your own inner knowing. Because if you think you're channeling, you're automatically going to shut it down. Why? Because you're scared. Because you read somewhere, some nitwit on the social medias or whatever said, you can be overtaken by whatever. No, you can't. You cannot be overtaken by anything unless you choose to be overtaken by that. Period. End of story. That's it. So your intuition, getting to know what it feels like in your body to be still and to receive higher wisdom from your soul, from your guides, because your guides and your angels and the angelic light beings that guide you, they've always been there with you because they have a soul contract with you, because you're a part of that, you're a part of their frequency and they're a part of your frequency. If you weren't a part of their frequency and that soul group, or that, it's more than a soul group, because some of these beings were never human. They were never on this physical earth. So it's more that your energetic frequency resonates and understands theirs, because your frequency is a part of their frequency, and their frequency is a part of yours. That is the only way that you can have guides, specific guides. Your frequency has to be a match to that energy. And what you will notice is that critical voice that you hear that tells you you're not good enough, that tells you you're not smart enough, that tells you you're not worthy, whatever that dumb little voice is inside you. That's not the intuition. That's the ego. Any thought, anything that brings you into separation, into fear, into guilt, into shame, into blame, into anger, into disunion, into disharmony, into chaos, all of that is not your intuition. Your intuition is a whisper. Your intuition is that loving, gentle, inner voice that sounds just like you, but it sounds like a more compassionate, embracing, loving part of you. It's that gentle nudge that is giving you that gentle push in the right direction. It's that feeling of joy that you feel when you see something that lights your soul on fire. It can be a sunset, it can be traveling, it can be a wonderful conversation with your friends, it can be books. Whatever it is that lights you up, that's in that same energy of your intuition, of your inner knowing. And the ways that you can connect is by getting comfortable. Well, let me back up a little bit. Your intuition will never lead you astray. However, it is very important for us to be always purifying and clearing your energy. Why do I say purifying and clearing your energy if I say that, there's nothing that you can't be guided wrong? Because you really can't be guided wrong, period. However, because we're in this human experience, we do have karmas and traumas and limiting beliefs that we have inherited or that we have taken on or that somehow got put in there, knowingly, unknowingly, consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, doesn't matter. But what matters is that we become aware of it. I will share this about my mother. My mother has wonderful ability to receive information from the higher realms. Wonderful ability, innate ability. However, her lens is so distorted because of her own unprocessed fear and unprocessed emotions that what she receives is never communicated through the voice, through her lens, through her filter, in a way that actually benefits and serves her or anyone around her. So, and this is partly the reason why a lot of psychics and that whole, what was that lady? Call me now. Miss Cleo. That was the one. Miss Cleo. I'm aging myself, I know, but if you go on the Google, you can find those old commercials. When a person and a being is in service to self, all of the information that they receive, no matter how pure it may be in its essence at its source, will be distorted because of their filter. Because remember, we experience this world in this duality perspective in order to live on this earth for the time being. This is the experience we signed up to partake in. So if we don't purify and cleanse and get to know what our own lenses and filters are and throw out the ones that are old and decrepit and shattered and, all kind of squirrely, if we don't do that, then the information we receive gets distorted because we are serving the self. We are serving the ego. However, if you actively choose to do your work, choose choose to engage in practices, in meditations, however it is that you do your spiritual practice, to purify and cleanse your filters, get rid of what doesn't work and doesn't serve you, then you can truly harness the real power of your intuition. And in that situation, what you convey will be for the highest good. It will elevate everyone and everything around you, including yourself, because we're all interconnected. There is no separation. So that is the difference. There is the service to self, and there are many, unfortunately, many so-called spiritual teachers that are in service to self because they haven't completely transformed and gone through and felt whatever it is that they needed to feel. And this is not saying that one is good, one is bad. At the end of the day, whether you do your work or not is your choice, because we all have free will. And at the same time, if you truly want to know your energy and you truly want to be able to know your intuition, hone your intuition, sharpen your intuition, be able to truly receive and serve with what the energy that you receive, with the light, with the wisdom, with the chokhmah, then we must be purifying. We must be cleansing the physical vessel. We must be cleansing the programs from our emotional body, because that's the other thing. Most people live, remember how I said, most people live either half awake or they're dead. And by dead, I mean they're just going through the motions. They live in this fight or flight. Everything is driven by fear, by greed, by the lower chakras, by the root, the survival needs. And yes, we all need these taken care of. But again, that is going to distort. To be driven by your base needs is going to distort whatever information you receive. And therefore, what you create with the information you receive will not be sustainable, because it is not birthed and nurtured through unconditional love, through the divine frequencies of light, through the higher realms. It is not birthed in that essence. So your intuition really is your guide, and your emotions are the way that you start to know where you need to look at, because your triggers and your emotions point you in the direction of what it is within you that needs to be examined, that needs to be nurtured, that needs to be loved. And I had a beautiful and kind of harsh channeling that came in this morning, and I shared it on my Instagram. And what I received was, words either create or they destroy. They either create or they destroy. And that really got me thinking, because I'm like, whoa. How many times, even though I am doing my hours of practices and I'm a spiritual teacher and I'm a guide, and even though I am doing what I have chosen to do, even then, there are still times when I catch myself saying things that are not in alignment with what it is that I'm choosing as my frequency. And when I do that, I catch myself and I'm like, no, let me come back to the heart. And that is how we really come back home to our alignment, by coming back to your heart, by coming back to knowing that you are infinite love and the being in front of you is also infinite love. may not be expressing that, not saying that, they're expressing that, but somewhere underneath all of that fear and all of that trauma and all of that pain and all of that lashing out, there is that spark of the divine. And this doesn't mean that you allow mofos to disrespect you and to step on you. No. This means you gently and as lovingly as possible remove yourself to a more protected space, to a space that truly honors and values your light. We don't make martyrs here. So your intuition. So I was saying that many of us live in fight or flight. So this is what fight or flight looks like or feels like. It's that butterflies. It's that wanting to chase that excitement and thinking that, well, in the case of a loved one, oh, that person is boring and so predictable. I want someone who's gonna, excite me and, make me feel like I don't know where I stand. For someone that was raised in a way, and many of us in many ways, we've been emotionally traumatized. For those of us that were raised not feeling safe, it is normal for us to seek out relationships where we do not feel safe, because our emotions, our emotional intelligence, that's the word I'm looking for, has been off. It's been off. So sometimes choosing something that is quote unquote boring and, someone that is predictable and stable and loyal, sometimes choosing that is really choosing your emotional safety. And the only way that we can truly be a clear vessel is when our emotions are pure. When our emotions are, and by pure I mean clear, when we have emotional clarity. A lot of people say that to manifest you need to hold the vibration, you need to mentally fixate on it. It's got nothing to do with the mind, because the mind is the ego. It has to do with your emotions. Manifestation has to do with your emotions. How much emotional clarity and balance do you have? Because the more you cultivate emotional balance and harmony and the balancing of your internal neurons, so your nervous system, the more that you harmonize and balance your nervous system, the more you're going to be a clear channel. The more it's going to be easier to receive higher wisdom and higher information, to embody it and to express it in the highest expression, and to sustain your creations, because you're not moving from the ego. Because remember, the mind is the ego. The mind is what plays tricks on you and makes you feel safe when you're not. It wants to keep you contained and chained and enslaved and manipulated, and it's that conditional love. That's how I can express it. It's that if you do this, then I will like you. But if you don't do that, then I'm going to withhold. I'm going to be resentful. I'm going to be vengeful. I'm going to be petty. That's the mind. The mind is the one that plays tricks on you and is emotionally manipulative. But when you tune into your heart and you truly get to know your energy, your intuition, your inner knowing, then you come to understand how you create and your own resonant frequency. And the more you can understand your frequency, the more you can learn to harmonize with other frequencies, with other people, with other energies. And you can actively and consciously choose what you are co-creating. You choose what you are birthing into the physical realm, because you're aware, you're awake. You are, whatever your triggers may be, you allow yourself to feel them. You don't run away from them. You allow yourself to feel them, to bring love and infinite light to those parts of you that need that healing, that need that nurturing, that support, that love, that acceptance. And we let go of the layers of ego that have kept us trapped, that have kept us disconnected from our body, from our wombs, from our intuition. And I mentioned the womb. I was going to talk about the womb. So the womb is that creation energy, and the womb is the energy that men and women have. How do men have it, even though they don't have physical wombs? They have it because they were birthed from woman. There is no man that has not been born of woman. Yeshua was born of light conception through Mary, woman. However, if you are in a feminine embodiment, your energy for creation and conversely destruction is that much more powerful, because we are in the physical embodiment of the feminine, of the birther of worlds, of beings. So for women, knowing your energy, trusting your intuition, purifying your physical body also involves the purification of your womb, because we hold traumas and karmas and stuff and baggage in our womb space. And I'm going to have to do a whole episode on the womb, because there's so much to talk about, because so many of us ladies we've disassociated ourselves from our intuition, we've disassociated ourselves from our heart, and we've disassociated ourselves from our body, from our wombs, from our creative center. And then we wonder why we're not manifesting, and we wonder why things aren't moving the way we want them to move. First of all, that's ego, so let's throw that out. But we wonder why we sometimes have such a hard time, why it feels that much more difficult, why it feels like an uphill battle, why it feels like a battle, period. And this can be a battle within yourself, with your relationship with your womb. It can be a battle with your heart. It can be a battle with trusting your knowing. There are many levels to the disconnection and disassociation that of the feminine persuasion, of the feminine embodiment. That's the right word. We of the feminine embodiment experience. And it's not something that can be easily transformed. It's something that, again, requires our attention, our nurturing, and our love. So like your relationship with your intuition, your relationship with your womb space, your creation space, and this goes for men and women, needs to come back into harmony, into balance. Because many women and men, and it doesn't even matter what sexual orientation you are, many of us, we completely dishonor and disrespect our bodies and our creative energy. And by disrespecting our physical body, we disrespect our creation energy. And by disrespecting our creation energy, we further disconnect and separate ourselves from our light, from our infinite nature, from our soul essence. And during this Gemini portal, what we are doing is we are coming back. We are bringing all of these aspects of ourselves, and we are seeking that alchemical marriage, that divine union. And the more we can create that divine union within ourselves, get to know our energy, get to know our intuition, get to know what our creation feels like, what our passion feels like, what our drive is, and allow your soul to guide you. Truly choose what you will align with. Will you choose to align with your soul, with the infinite light of creation? Will you choose to align to the light and to the highest expression of your soul, or will you not? And whatever answer that is, that's your choice. But again, remember, your frequency, your words, your energy is what is creating. So wouldn't it be better more exciting and beautiful and peaceful if we chose to align with our highest expression, with our light, with our joy, with love, with peace, to unify the seemingly disjointed aspects of ourselves and bring them back into wholeness, to know that our true essence is oneness and is wholeness. And that's what our intuition brings us to. And that's what spiritual practice and work bring us to. They bring us back into that infinite oneness, into the void where we can come to experience ourselves as that divine human. And that divine human is cautious with the words and the thoughts and the frequencies and the actions that he or they take, because they understand that they are in an active co-creation with the divine, with Allah, with the Avun, with God, Goddess, with Source. We are always in a communication. Every moment, everything, everyone around you is a mirror showing you different aspects of yourself, different aspects, different versions of life, of this human experience, in order for you to choose whether you wish to align to it or not. And if you don't, it's okay. And if you do, that's fine too. And I'm being called to mention this too. It's not just duality. Because on a deeper level, there's the polarity of the masculine, feminine, positive, negative, but there's also neutrality. And it's in that liminal space, in that space of neutrality, that we can truly receive, that we can truly allow ourselves to harmonize with the higher frequencies, to anchor them in our body, and to birth and create with those frequencies. Arun ishire nai asnarai, arun a inasere, arun ishire nai ara sare, arun anaya, anaya is nai urun sere, ara inai shire. I will also say this about language. Notice the words that you use. Notice the tonality. Every language has a code, and each code aligns you with different energies. The light language I just spoke, whenever I channel light language, I feel a buzzing in my head, and I feel this expansive energy. And it's an energy of expansion, of love. Light language is a cosmic, energetic language that holds no duality. It's a language of creation. And it's one of the reasons that I love working with Aramaic, because in Aramaic, there is no duality, which makes it a little complicated to translate. But it is really beautiful and very powerful to work with Aramaic. So I will leave you with this. In a YouTube, I shared the chanting of Shem. Shem, 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 Shemaya. Shem is Aramaic for vibration. Shemaya is Aramaic experiment with chanting, toning, singing Shem and Shemaya. Shem, Shem, Shemaya, and see what that does for you. See how you feel. Because during this cycle, it's particularly important for us to be increasingly mindful of our words, of our tone, of our frequency, of our energy, and of actually allowing ourselves to receive, not just express our truth, receive the information from our environment. This can be a billboard, it can be a song on the radio. The divine is always communicating with us. We're always in this cosmic flow of dance. It's just a matter of if we choose to be aware of it. And with that, I thank you for joining me. This week's sound activation is a sound activation that is going to take us into deeper connection with our intuition, with our inner knowing, with the wisdom of our soul. So do tune in and check that out. As always, if you enjoyed this, share, like, subscribe, 5-star review. If you are listening to this on YouTube, comment below and let me know how you received this, how you felt this energy. I always love reading you and hearing from you and connecting with you. You can follow me on Instagram at Aurea Lara, AUREALARA, or at Hold the Shekhinah, SHEKINAH. And I always post either mantras or sound activations, energetic updates. You can also find me on YouTube, Aurea Lara. And feel free to just receive the wisdom that is there for you. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend, rest of your day. Whenever you receive this, know that you received it at the perfect time, because time is circular. We experience time as linear, but it truly is circular. So once again, have a blessed day of the goddess. Thank you for listening, and make sure to tune in to the sound activation. And you can find that on my website, Ausetka, AUSETKA, Alchemy, ALCHEMY.com/podcast. And you can listen there without any interruptions, no ads, no advertisements. And I explain in the beginning of the sound activation why it's so important to not have squirrely information coming in when you're trying to do a sound activation. So do check that out. Have a blessed day. Ahava.